The National Capital Authority acknowledges the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to elders past and present. Thank you for sharing and caring for the land that we learn and play on.
Hi everyone, my name's Tash. Welcome to Little Griffins. Today I'm out and about in another part of Canberra. I'm standing next to the international flag display down by the edge of Lake Burley Griffin. Can you see the long poles with the brightly coloured flags on top? When the wind picks up, you can see the flags swaying in the breeze, and if you listen closely, you can hear a soft ping as the metal parts pull against the poles. Every country in the world has a flag. Flags are like a picture that represents a place. This is a picture of Australia, and this is a picture of the Australian flag. The flag doesn't look like our country. Instead, it uses different shapes and colours to represent a place. So when people see this flag, they think about the country of Australia, where we live. How many different colours can you see on the Australian flag? We have a blue background, white stars, and a special red and white cross called the Union Jack. So that's 3 different colours. How many stars can you see on the Australian flag? Let's count them together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 stars on the Australian flag. Flags can be all sorts of different colours and have all sorts of different shapes on them. This is the Australian Aboriginal flag. What can you see here? We have a big black stripe at the top. This represents Indigenous people. Down the bottom, we have a big red stripe. This represents the land of our country. And in the middle, we have a yellow what? Is it a star? Is it a triangle? No, you know what it is, don't you? We have a yellow circle, and this represents the sun. This is one of my favourite flags. This is the Torres Strait Islander flag. And you might have seen these 3 flags grouped together in parts of Canberra. This one has 5 stripes on it. We have a thick blue stripe in the middle that represents the ocean. We have 1, 2 little green stripes. They represent the land. And 1, 2 very narrow black stripes, and they represent the Torres Strait Islander people themselves. And what's this in the middle? We have 2 shapes. We have a white star, and this, also in white, is a special type of headdress that people wear when they dance. There are 110 flags in the international flag display. There's one for every country that Australia is especially good friends with. People from all of these countries, and many more, live in Australia today. You could spend a lovely morning down by the edge of the water, looking at all of these flags. It's nice if you go on a bit of a windy day, because the flags will be flapping around and it will be easier to see them. If you had your very own country, what would your flag look like? Would it have some spots or some stripes in your favourite colour? Would it have a picture of your favourite animal on it? What about a picture of your favourite food? If I had my very own flag, I would put a giraffe on it, because giraffes are nice and tall, just like me. Today at Little Griffins, we're going to make some flags out of duplo. We'll also make some flags out of jelly, which is a very fun thing to play with, especially in the warm summer weather. And of course, we're going to sing some songs about flags. Are you ready to do some singing and dancing together? As always, we're going to sing 2 songs together at Little Griffins today. You might already recognise the tune, and grown-ups, you can find the words on the National Capital Authority's website. Link here. Alright folks, are you ready to be a flag with me? Does your flag hang low? Can you wave it to and fro? Can you fold it in half? Can you hang it in a row? Can you raise it to the sky, flying high, high, high? Or does your flag hang low? Nice work, folks. Let's do it again. Does your flag hang low? Can you wave it to and fro? Can you fold it in half? Can you hang it in a row? Can you raise it to the sky, flying high, high, high? Or does your flag hang low? Lovely, everyone. Let's move on to our second song. This sounds a lot like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but it's actually Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Flag. Hands up, being twinkly flags with me. Twinkle, twinkle, little flag, how I wonder at your wag. Up above the world so high, flying high up in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little flag, how I wonder at your wag. Lovely work, everyone. Let's do it again. Twinkle, twinkle, little flag, how I wonder at your wag. Up above the world so high, flying high up in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little flag, how I wonder at your wag. Nice work, everyone. Now let's do our craft activity. We're going to be making flags out of jelly. Let's go! You ready to make some wibbly wobbly jelly flags? I've got lots of different colour jelly in front of me. I've got some blue, some red, some yellow, some green, and some dark purple. Now, the reason I have so many different colours is because we're going to make 3 flags together. We're going to make the Australian flag, the Australian Aboriginal flag, and also the Torres Strait Islander flag. Now, this craft will take a little bit of time, mainly because the first step is actually making the jelly, and it takes a little while to set. So you might even want to make the jelly one day, leave it overnight, and then come back to the craft the next day. Now, my jelly isn't wobbling as much as normal jelly, and that's because I haven't used as much water as the packet said. This gives me a thicker, firmer jelly, and it's much easier to craft with. So let's get started with our Australian flag. Firstly, I'm going to cut a small square out of the top corner of my blue jelly. Because, as you'll remember from before, the Australian flag has a special cross in one corner. And so I need to remove the blue and put in the red. Now I've got the lid of one of my containers here, and I'm going to use that to put the excess jelly on. So I've used my knife to cut a little square, and I'm using my spoon to scoop it out and put it over here. And then I'm just going to clean out a little bit of the remaining jelly to make it nice and smooth. All right, now I'm going to cut into my red jelly, and I'm going to try and make a little square about the same size as the blue square. And again, I'm going to use my spoon to scoop it out. And then I'm going to put that red square in with my blue jelly. And because I have nice clean fingers, I can use my thumb to help. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. What do you think so far? Now, I'm going to turn it around to face me for the next bit. I'm going to use some whipped cream in a little piping bag, which I've made from just a plain Ziploc bag. And I'm going to use that to make the Union Jack. So shaking the cream, pouring a little bit into the bag. Ooh. And squishing it down into the bottom. I'm going to use my scissors to cut a very small hole. Perfect. Now, the reason that I'm using the piping bag is to create a much more fine or narrow line. Okay. Yeah. Concentrating pretty hard to get it right. But you know what? If it does look a little bit funny, that's okay. You can just eat it and start over again. What do you think? All right, what's the next step? Should we put the stars in for the Southern Cross? Now, I want the stars to be bigger, so I'm going to use the whipped cream, and I'm going to press and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars for the Southern Cross, and 1 more to make the complete Australian flag. There we go. Pretty cool, isn't it? Let's put it to the side and let's make the Australian Aboriginal flag. Now, usually the Australian Aboriginal flag has a black stripe. Now, I've never seen black jelly. I'm not sure that that's something you can get. So instead of black jelly, I'm going to use the dark reddy purple. And we've also got some normal red jelly here. Now for this one, I'm going to cut a line down the middle of my red rectangle, and I'm going to scoop out half of the jelly. I'm using my spoon again, and I can use my hands to help. And can you see how firm it is? Whoop! Not completely firm. That's all right. Skipping out the rest of the jelly. Just making it nice and neat, getting as much of the extra red out as I can. I'm going to do the same thing with my darker coloured jelly, but this time I'm hoping that my rectangle doesn't collapse because I want to put this rectangle in with my red jelly. Whew, that actually looks pretty good. Oh, trying to squish it down. I'm quite pleased with that. There we go. Now the last thing that we need is a yellow circle in the middle to be our sun. So I have a biscuit cutter here, and I'm going to cut a hole in the middle, push down, and then I'm going to scoop out the middle section of jelly, put that to the side. How does it feel on your fingers? Is it cold and squishy? I'm going to get my yellow jelly, do pretty much the same thing. Cut a circle using my biscuit cutter, and this time I'm going to use my spoon. I've used the spoon to pick up the whole biscuit cutter, and I'm going to transfer that across. Ta-da! A second wibbly wobbly jelly flag. Let's put it next to the Australian flag up here. All right, next step, we're going to do the Torres Strait Islander flag. So again, I'm starting with a blue base, and I'm going to cut 2 narrow rectangles, one from the bottom and one from the top. Okay, let's use the spoon again to clear out the edges. Now, of course, you don't have to make one of the types of flags that I'm making. You could make a different country's flag. You could make up your own country and make your own flag. Okay. Now our next step is going to be with the green jelly. And I'm going to cut 2 more narrow rectangles. All right, going in with fingers for this one again. There we go. Yep, that's actually come out quite nicely. Now, green's my favourite, so. Ooh, another big long jelly snake. Okay, now we've got some empty space in between our green and our blue sections here. And on the normal flag, there would be black lines there, but again, we don't have black jelly, so we're going to use the dark purple. So I'm cutting another skinny section out. I'm sliding that down between my blue and my green. Now, that one's broken off a little bit, so I'm going to use a few more sections just to fix it up. It's looking pretty good. Okay, next step, I'm going to go back to the piping bag. I'm filling it in to make it nice and creamy. And then I'm going to do the little star in the middle of the headdress. And I'll use the normal whip again. Put one more shake and quick little squeeze. And there we go. Ta-da! 3 wibbly wobbly jelly flags. Now that you've got nice clean hands again, it's time to make some flags together out of duplo. Now again, you can make the same flag as me. I'm going to try and make the Australian flag, or you can make your own made-up country's flag, or you can make a totally different flag. It's up to you. You can only be limited by your imagination. There we go, everyone. A duplo Australian flag. How did you go with yours? Did you make the Australian flag, or did you make something different? Well, I hope you had a lot of fun with me at Little Griffins today, and I hope to see you next time. See you later!